The Life of Christ, 6. Christ's first public appearance in Jerusalem. A conspicuous characteristic of Christ's ministry was the miraculous power which he exercised. A miracle may be defined as an event not explicable on the basis of merely natural laws or causes, but requiring the power above nature, indicating a divine agency and certifying a divine authority in the person performing the act, and never occurring except in attestation of some religious movement. It was the firm belief among the intelligent Jews that no genuine miracle could be wrought but by the power of God, and that this power was never granted except to a good man. Didn't they believe that there could be magic? But anything was supposed to be by permission of God, wasn't it? God gives opportunity, and if you make a mistake, well, but you don't say, well, God approved it. No, God didn't approve of this. It's not the same thing. Hence the miracles wrought by Christ appeared with a demonstrative force to all candid men. Thus, Nicodemus, no man can do these miracles that thou doest, except God be with him. Prejudiced partisans and enemies of Christ endeavored to destroy the force of them by impeaching their genuineness, but their resounding was so palpably superficial and inconsequential that it required little effort to refute them. It was to these works as credentials of the divine authority that Christ so frequently referred, and to the Jews, and in that age they were so incontestable that they could not well be rejected without guilt. Attention was asked to some characteristics of these miracles. They were never wrought for the personal gratification of either Jesus or of his friends. They were never allowed to minister to mere curiosity. They were never performed as mere tests of individual power, nor in response to sensational demand. They were, almost without exception, in the way of some benevolent ministration to the afflictions of men. Now, that sort of concept has been twisted in some people. That's just like, oh, well, I have all these powers, but, oh, well, even if you believe and move your way up, don't expect them to be shown to you. And they'll never be shown to you just to prove things. So you have to have faith in them to begin with. So people with no extraordinary anything really will use this as an excuse why people don't notice that per se to be true. John 2, 13 through 25, 3, 1 through 20. Jesus, according to his customs, goes to Jerusalem on the occasion of the Passover next after the beginning of his ministry. John 2, is that 43 or 13? 13, I think. Yeah, that's got to be 13. It kind of looks smudged on that part. I don't know if you can see that. Explain the origin and nature of this memorial and its relation to Christianity. Astonishment and grief of Jesus at the profanation of the temple to the uses of secular commerce. He drives out the traders and the speculators, the dignity and force of character in him which prevented resistance, 14 through 16. The pious zeal manifested excites the admiration of his few friends and the jealousy of the multitude. The latter demand of him a sign, some evidence of his authority for this extraordinary action, 17 through 18. His answer, their cavillings, the impression on his disciples, 19 through 22. Having taught and wrought some miracles, many were convinced of his divine character and mission, but owing to their vague and carnal conceptions, he did not commit himself to them. Visit of Nicodemus, John 3, 1. Who was he, and what estimate do you form of his character? His recognition of Christ's miracles and consequent divine power. Verse 2. The chief topic of Jesus' conversation with Nicodemus and the ruler's failure to apprehend its real spiritual import, verses 3 through 8. What designation do Christians of this age give to the change here implied? By what power is it effective? 5, 6, and 8. Jesus' assertion of the sacred truth of his teachings and reference to his authority as evinced by his exercise of supernatural power, also his sole ability to reveal these truths and the reluctance of men to receive them, 9 through 13. The great doctrine of redemption by Christ as the Son of Man and the Son of God, 14 through 15. Greatness of the divine love, verse 16. Men condemned not so much because of their natural conditions or past sinfulness as because of the rejection of the Redeemer, 17 through 20. Now, it's in the sort of Gnostic sort of context that you might understand it differently than a Christian might. By Christian, I mean Jesus worshiper. But 3:16, there's an issue with John 3:16, and why doesn't God so love the world that he doesn't? Why doesn't God love his son so much that he keeps him from being murdered and hold the real people accountable and perhaps give people an opportunity to, well, not make the mistakes in the first place, but to atone on their own, maybe like the monotheist religions or even the panentheist sort of religions say that, well, as long as you've started the process before you die, or whether you die in the right consciousness that you're going to try to overturn what you've done, and perhaps the atonement can be the fact that the criminal gets executed. But where's this, why not the love that humans can accomplish things for themselves and to accept the accomplishments of humans for themselves?